Hey guys, today we're taking a look at my Madolche deck. Now, Madolches are this really interesting archetype that are kind of based on a few different things. They have swarming, they have bouncing, but their big mechanic is that they have a tendency to reuse themselves. They recycle into the deck. You can keep getting them back. They're a big advantage deck, and if you like decks where you always get your cards back and you can't be decked out and things like that, that's really what a Madolche deck tries to do. Uh, the build hasn't seen too many changes over the time I've had it. There's not a lot of variation on what you should do with it. It's pretty staple, and in terms of what you want to run, there's just a few monster things and a few spell and trap things and extra deck. But otherwise, the skeleton's pretty simple, and a lot of people are probably going to end up having the same build because I don't recommend a lot of variation on it, and I don't recommend using a lot of Madolche cards outside of the ones that you'll see in this deck. So first off in this deck, we're going to be running the hands. So obviously the hands are very powerful right now with a lot of decks. I find that in the Madolche deck, it gives you a lot of advantage. Depleting your opponent's resources is very strong in this deck just because of the fact that we get our cards back and they don't. So it can be a very big advantage card and lets you do some additional plays. So we're running those hands. And then we're running 3 Anjelly. So the newest card for the Madolches adds to the consistency a lot, helping you get whatever you need. There's a lot of really good combos you can do with this, which is very nice and just helps you, make out and get those big plays going. Then 3 Hootcake. Hootcake's more of a choice because some people choose to skip it and run, different cards or not focus so much on it. I like Hootcake because it has a few additional combo plays, which is very nice, leading into special summoning. And then 3 Magileine. So Magileine is a searcher for the deck. What's nice about a lot of these stats is that with your field card, all these cards pretty much become beaters, which are beaters or something, a decent attack. So Magileine will be up at 1900. So a 1900 searcher on summon, which is very, very nice that you can get what you need. And then we have 3 Messengelato. So Messengelato, a very important card for the deck, searching out your Madolche spell or traps. The big idea behind Madolches is to get their field card and their ticket up so you can make those big plays over and over and over again. So very important for this card. And then along with that, Mewfeuille, just allowing you to special summon things. Very good in combination with Messengelato. And there's a bunch of other combos we can do because we have cards like Anjelly and Hootcake. So between all those combos where we have a big special summoning engine, we have a lot of searching and a lot of different ways to get things out. So now for the spells, not going to be running too much. 1 Book of Moon, 1 Dark Hole, 2 Double Summon. Usually I don't see Double Summon outside of a deck that really, focuses on getting a lot of summons at once that can, choose to run a card like this that can be a minus at a lot of different times. But in a Madolche deck where you have a big hand and you're able to get your resources back, Double Summon is pretty useful almost all the time because of how those resources come back to you. And we can make such big plays off of XYZs that it's very nice to have something like this. Then the field card, Madolche Chateau, just a really amazing card overall, giving all our Madolches huge attack and also letting us recycle, which is very, very nice. And then Madolche Ticket, another card that just gives you advantage. And then along with your XYZ, when you get it out, you start swarming the field like crazy. So once you have Ticket and Chateau up, it's going to be very hard for your opponent to deal with you. And then we have 2 MST, and then we have a pretty large amount of back row. The thing about Madolches, like I said, depleting your opponent's resources is very important because of the fact that you can recycle. So running a good amount of back row can be very nice. Obviously the staples. We're also running 2 Breakthrough Skill, another nice way to deal with certain effects that will really, really annoy us. 1 Madolchepalooza, just a really big advantage card at certain times. 1 is fine because of how our deck works. And 2 Trap Stun. I decided to go with Trap Stun instead of Forbidden Lance because of the big plays that we'll be making with Madolche. So I really like having traps done for this deck in particular. So now for the extra deck, we're going to see a little bit of variety between 4 and 3. Diamond Direwolf, because we do have some beasts in the deck, so we can take advantage of that. Exciton, Gagaga, Alucard, 2 Leviair. So Leviair is a big advantage card in this deck because detaching can lead us to do really powerful things. We need a way to get Madolches in the graveyard to work with Tiaramisu and work with other things. So Leviair tends to get run, at 1 or 2, depending on what you're trying to do. Very big advantage card at certain times. And then X-Saber Invoker, Messengelato is a warrior, so this is a very nice card for this deck. We can make a lot of big plays with that. And 2 Tiaramisu, the boss of the deck, just really, really powerful card, allowing you to bounce things. Well, not bounce them, shuffle them into the deck, which is so much better. It's like Gishkis, which can lead to big, big advantage. And, with all the other things you're doing, you're already getting huge advantage And then along with Ticket, like I was saying before, when you do have Tiaramisu, you can make really, really big plays. So very, very nice. I did forget to mention Ticket also works with Anjelly, which can again lead you to some big, powerful things. Otherwise, other various staples, Maestroke, Silent Honor, running Ragnazero. I wanted to have, another XYZ that was a bit powerful that also had a nice effect to just kind of help you against various deck types, which is nice. Leviathan, another detaching card that can lead you to big combos with some more power, which is nice. Zenmaines, in case you are looking to stall and wait for those cards to come up. And Heartlandraco, this deck is pretty exclusively focused on having a spell card out, so Heartlandraco can be a really nice card to have. So for the side deck, I'm just going to talk about a few other cards. Some people like Buttle Rusk, but I don't really think it's good to help you search. Croissant can be okay if you're going to run this. I'd say to run it only at 1. It could do some interesting plays, but I'm not the hugest fan of it. Pudding Cess used to be a really interesting card that you can build a deck around. You might still be able to do that, but that doesn't tend to be what people are trying to do nowadays. Maxx C, because of how this deck works, you can use this to get some advantage, but usually a side card. Another build is you can run this with TGs. I've seen that. Redux is another tech card you can add in. You can run that. You can run Gen X Ally, do synchro plays, do other XYZs. A really big different variation than this, but that's another choice. Mind Control to give you more XYZ power, which we talked about can be important. Forbidden Lance, like I was saying, I'm running Trap Stun instead, but Forbidden Lance, is a fine card and can be very, very useful to protect, like Tiaramisu, for example. Creature Swap can be an interesting one, just to get rid of your lower attack monsters, especially when you don't have Chateau up, or you're just having those low attack monsters up anyway. There's various other XYZs you can run. You can run Soul of Silver Mountain to give us some additional plays, Engineer to protect stuff, Fairy King. Just not the focus of the deck, what we're really trying to do, so I like to focus on kind of other more useful XYZs, but I have seen a lot of people run Engineer, which I can see the point of that. Starlight Road, obviously doesn't get run too much, but it's more useful nowadays with cards like Exciton Knight. In this deck, you're focusing on a lot of big advantage and a lot of field presence, so Starlight Road can be a really useful card in that sense. A lot of the other Madolche cards I wouldn't recommend running. Waltz is an interesting one that's focused on doing damage. I'd say you'd have to build your deck around Waltz if you really want to make huge use of it. So not a card I'd recommend in just a standard build, but if you really like this card and want to try to build a deck around it, I definitely think it's possible, and I can see it being really annoying for your opponent. So that's my Madolche deck. Again, just a big advantage deck, focused on recycling, focused on field presence, swarming, taking advantage of certain points in your play. Really fun deck to play. I really enjoy this, and I really love it now that we have more support with Anjelly. That gives us a lot of options on what we're trying to do. I also really like the artwork, just aside, on all these cards. I think they all look really cool, and there's a lot of detail in them. But if you guys do have your own Madolche decks, you can post below and let me know in the comments. Maybe you can make some suggestions for me. Maybe there's some cards I didn't think about that could be really useful for this deck. So let me know. But as always, thank you guys for watching. I'll see you later.